The doorbell echoed through the empty halls of my grandmother's Victorian mansion like a warning shot. I stood there in the foyer, heart steady but mind racing, peering through the antique glass. There they were, my estranged father, Harold, his polished wife Vivian, and my half-sister Lena, all smiles and false cheer. A bakery box in Vivian's manicured hands. No one had called to wish me happy birthday, not that I expected it after years of silence, but here they were on my 26th, uninvited and reeking of ulterior motives. I smoothed my sweater, took a breath that tasted like old dust and resolve, and opened the door just wide enough to let the autumn chill slip in. Happy birthday, Emily, Harold boomed, his voice too loud for the quiet street in suburban Connecticut. He leaned in for a hug I sidestepped, his cologne clashing with the faint lavender scent my grandmother had loved. Vivian's lips curved into that practiced curve, the one that hid calculations behind kindness, while Lena shifted awkwardly, her eyes darting to the chandelier visible through the doorway. They pushed inside without waiting, settling on the velvet sofa like conquerors claiming territory. The cake box hit the coffee table with a thud, but my eyes locked on the leather briefcase Harold carried, the real gift. I knew. 26 already, Vivian cooed, slicing into the cake with a silver knife she'd pulled from who knows where. Such a grown-up age. Time flies, doesn't it? Especially with family matters to sort. She glanced at Harold, who nodded gravely and unzipped the briefcase, pulling out a stack of crisp legal papers.
Ink.
We've been meaning to talk about the house. Your grandparents' will, God rest their souls, was a bit murky. With Nana's health declining those last years, there might have been some oversights. I poured coffee from the pot I'd brewed earlier, my hands steady despite the storm building inside. Oversights. That's what they called it now. I'd spent the last 4 years piecing together the truth. Ever since Nana's diagnosis. While they played the distant relatives, I'd been the one changing her linens, reading her favorite mysteries aloud, watching her mind fade like ink in water. And, in those lucid moments, she'd whispered warnings. They'll come for it, Emily. The vultures always do. I set the mugs down, meeting Harold's eyes that mirrored mine but lacked any warmth. The will was clear. Everything to me after Nana passed. Harold cleared his throat, sliding the documents toward me. That's the thing. We've consulted our attorney. There's a clause about family unity, about ensuring the property stays with blood. You can keep living here. Of course, we'd never displace you, but signing this transfers it to a trust. For protection. Taxes alone on a place like this? For $1 million worth? It could bankrupt you. Lena nodded eagerly, her designer watch glinting. Yeah.
Eminência.
We're just looking out. You dropped out of grad school. Handling this solo sounds rough. I traced the rim of my mug, letting the silence stretch. They thought I was still that broken teenager they'd left behind, the one who'd begged for scraps of attention after Mom's accident. But no. I'd traded tears for textbooks, nights poring over estate law in the local library while they vacationed in the Hamptons. I'd found the discrepancies, the loans Vivian had coaxed from Nana during her foggy days, the forged signatures on minor accounts, and I'd filed countermeasures quietly, with a lawyer who'd become more ally than advisor. But I didn't reveal that yet. Let them think they had the upper hand. I'll review it, I said softly, gathering the papers. Give me time. Vivian's smile faltered. A crack in the facade. Time? Sweetie. The clock's ticking on probate. Harold's jaw tightened, but he patted my hand patronizingly. We're family.
Eminência.
This is for the best. As they left, cake half-eaten and tension thick, I watched their SUV disappear down the tree-lined drive. The house was mine, legally sealed 2 weeks prior in a quiet courthouse session. Their trust ploy? Dead on arrival. But revenge wasn't about gloating early. It was about watching them unravel, thread by thread. Flash back to when the cracks first showed. I was 8, standing in Nana's sunlit kitchen, flour on my cheeks from baking cookies. Pop had just explained why Dad, Harold, wouldn't be picking me up for weekends anymore. He's got a new life now. Pumpkin, he'd said, his judge's voice softening. But we're your forever. Mom had died in a car crash 2 years earlier, her laughter silenced by a drunk driver. Harold, shattered, or maybe just selfish, had remarried Vivian within months, a sharp real estate agent with ambitions bigger than our modest home. They'd signed away his rights to me, citing fresh starts, and shipped me to my grandparents' sprawling estate. No child support battles. No custody wars. Just erasure. Nana and Pop didn't spoil me with the wealth they'd built. Pop from his days on the bench. Nana from her publishing empire. They taught resilience, weeding the rose garden until my hands blistered, balancing checkbooks at 12, debating ethics over dinner. Life's a courtroom. Emily, Pop would say, moving chess pieces with deliberate grace. Anticipate the opponent's moves. Strike only when victory's assured. While Harold built his perfect family across town, Lena arriving as their golden child, I watched from afar. Holidays alone. Birthdays marked by Nana's homemade cakes. The one time I ran into them at a mall, Harold averted his eyes, Vivian whispering something that made Lena giggle. I cried that night, but Nana held me close. Strength isn't loud,
dear.
It's the quiet fire that burns longest. Pop passed when I was 19, his will ironclad. Assets to Nana, then to me. No mention of Harold, with a pointed clause. To my son, who chose distance over duty, I leave the peace of his decisions. Harold contested it briefly. But Pop's foresight, videos, evaluations shut him down. Then Nana's Alzheimer's crept in at 82. Suddenly, Harold remembered family. Vivian's visits increased, always with papers for Nana to sign. Just for insurance. Mother. I'd drive home from college weekends, finding drawers rifled, accounts dipped. One night, Nana gripped my arm in rare clarity. I signed something. Emily. Vivian said it was for doctors.
But
protect the house. It's your armor. That sparked my war room. I switched majors to pre-law, audited estate classes, hired attorney Clara Voss on a tip from Pop's old clerk. We uncovered the manipulations, a power of attorney Vivian had slipped in during a bad day, siphoning funds for upkeep that funded their yacht club dues. But we played silent, gathering evidence like ammunition. Nana died peacefully at 85. Her last words a murmured fight smart. Love. The funeral was a farce, Harold's eulogy ringing hollow. Afterward, they cornered me. Let's discuss the estate rationally. I nodded meekly, but inside, the dials turned. The real battle began. The days after my birthday ambush dragged like a slow fuse. I ignored their calls, letting voicemail fill with Vivian's honeyed urgency. Emily.
Dear.
We need your signature to protect you. Harold's texts escalated from paternal to pointed. Don't force our hand. But I was in Clara's office, mapping the endgame. Their trust document is a sham, she said, glasses perched on her nose. We've already transferred the deed via Nana's codicil, filed quietly last month. Their power of attorney? Revoked for fraud. I leaned back, the leather chair creaking. They don't know yet? Clara smiled thinly. Not until we serve them. But we've got more. Bank records showing $250,000 diverted over 2 years. Elder exploitation charges could stick. I nodded, but a knot twisted in my gut. This wasn't just about the house, a 4-acre haven with wraparound porches and secret attics where I'd hidden childhood treasures. It was about reclaiming what they'd stolen. My trust. My peace. Harold had abandoned me at 8, but the real theft was making me doubt my worth. Nana had rebuilt that, brick by brick.
Now,
I'd honor her by dismantling their greed. The first crack came midweek. Lena showed up alone, pounding on the door like it owed her money. I let her in, curiosity winning. She paced the living room, heels clicking on hardwood.
ink.
What's the holdup? Dad's freaking out. This trust is for everyone. I mean, the house is huge. We could all benefit. Benefit how? I asked, voice even. She faltered, then blurted. Well, subdivide maybe? Sell parts for development. Connecticut real estate is booming. Her eyes gleamed with that inherited avarice. I almost pitied her, raised on silver spoons, never knowing the grind that built this place. And where would I live? She waved dismissively. Here.
Duh. Just.
Shared. I poured her tea, watching steam rise like unspoken truths. Lena, remember when you were 10? You told me at that awkward family picnic that I was the extra kid nobody wanted. She flushed. I was a child. So was I whispered. She left flustered. No signature in hand. Harold struck next. Via email, a thinly veiled thread attached to evidence of my instability, blurry photos of me alone in the garden, talking to myself. But I recognized the angle from their PI, who'd tailed me months back. Clara laughed when I forwarded it. Wiretapping laws apply. This is gold. We countered quietly, filing for a protective order. Meanwhile, I dug deeper. Lena's social media was a treasure trove. Posts from inside the house during Nana's hospital stays, captioning future family pad, inheritance goals with geotags proving unauthorized entry. One video showed her trying on Nana's jewelry, giggling, vintage vibes before the auction. Auction. The word ignited something feral in me. As tension built, memories flooded back. At 16, I'd confronted Harold after he missed my high school graduation. Why? I'd asked over the phone, voice cracking. Business trip, he'd lied. But Vivian's Facebook showed them at a gala that night. Nana had held me as I sobbed. His loss. Emily. Build your own spotlight. I'd channeled that into scholarships, interning at a law firm where I learned to spot cons. Pop-Pop's chess lessons echoed. Sacrifices lead to checkmate. I'd sacrificed naivety. Now, checkmate loomed. The explosion hit on a rainy Friday. They arrived en masse, Harold banging like thunder. I opened the door to faces twisted in frustration. Enough games. Emily, he roared, shoving papers at me. Sign, or we'll contest the will. Prove Nana was coerced. Vivian sneered. You're not fit to manage this. Look at you, isolated. Paranoid. Lena hovered, silent for once. I stepped back, heart pounding but voice calm. Come in. Let's talk. They piled into the study, Pop-Pop's domain. Bookshelves towering like witnesses. I poured scotch from his decanter, the amber liquid glinting. You want the house? Why now? Harold leaned forward, mask slipping. It's rightfully mine. Dad cut me out unfairly. I built my career while you played house here. Vivian nodded. And with Lena's wedding coming, we need liquidity. Liquidity. Like the house was stock, not home. I set my glass down. You mean after draining Nana's accounts? Silence dropped like a guillotine. What? Harold blustered. I pulled out my folder, bank statements, timestamps matching their visits. Over $250,000 gone. Elder abuse.
Dad.
Felony territory. Vivian paled. Those were gifts. Gifts Nana didn't remember giving, I countered. Lena gasped. Mom? The room ignited. Harold accused Vivian of mishandling. She fired back about his gambling debts. Lena shrank, eyes wide. I watched. The slow burn of years erupting into their chaos. I've already transferred the deed, I said quietly amid the shouts. Your papers? Useless. Harold lunged for my folder. But I held firm. Touch me, and it's assault. He froze, breathing heavy. You bitch. The word hung, ugly and raw. But it freed something in me.
No. Dad.
I'm the daughter you threw away.
And now?
You're the one begging. They left in disarray, threats trailing like smoke. But I wasn't done. Clara served papers the next day. Lawsuit for fraud. Demand for restitution. The fuse had burned. The blast was coming. The weeks blurred into a haze of legal salvos, each one chipping at their facade. Harold's calls turned desperate. Emily. Let's settle privately. Families shouldn't air dirty laundry. But laundry? This was a cesspool. Clara and I met in her cluttered office, walls lined with case files like battle trophies. Their attorney's scrambling, she said, sipping black coffee. We've got the revoked power of attorney, the financial trails. But they're countering with claims of your emotional distress, trying to paint you as unstable. I laughed bitterly. Let them. I've got therapy records showing the opposite. Resilience from abandonment trauma. Abandonment. The word still stung. Rooting back to that rainy afternoon at 10, when Harold's lawyer delivered papers terminating rights. Nana had explained gently, he's choosing a different path, but ours is brighter. I believed her, throwing myself into school, volunteering at elder care centers where I saw echoes of what awaited Nana. There, I learned patience, the slow drip of justice over quick rage.
Now.
It paid off. We subpoenaed their finances, credit card statements revealing gifts from Nana funding Lena's college tuition, Harold's failed investments. Vivian's real estate firm had even listed similar properties, hinting at flips. The turning point came via an unexpected ally, our neighbor, Mr. Ellis, a retired cop with a knack for security cams. He'd captured footage of Vivian entering the house uninvited during my college days, carrying boxes. Thought it odd, he grumbled over tea. Your Nana was sharp, wouldn't have allowed it. The video showed her loading silverware. Heirlooms. Theft.
Plain and raw.
Clara pounced. This elevates to burglary. I hesitated. Do we push charges? Only if they don't fold, she replied. But fold they didn't. Instead, they escalated. It hit climax at a mediation session in a sterile conference room, fluorescent lights buzzing like angry bees. Harold sat rigid, Vivian dabbing eyes with a tissue, Lena absent, wisely, perhaps. Their lawyer, a slick type named Barrett, slid over compromise papers, split the estate 50/50ths. Miss Grant, your father's offering generosity despite hardships. Hardships? I leaned forward, voice a whisper that cut. Generosity, like abandoning a child? Or exploiting a dementia patient? Barrett blanched. Clara unveiled our arsenal. Videos. Statements. The deed transfer time-stamped before their birthday ploy. Harold exploded. You ungrateful. I gave you life. And took it away, I shot back. Emotions surging. Sign me off like a bad loan. Vivian sobbed. We needed a fresh start. Revelations tumbled. Harold's affair predating Mom's death. Vivian's pressure to cut ties. The mediator called recess. But the damage was done. Barrett whispered furiously. They huddled. Emerging. Harold's face was ashen. We'll pay back $150,000. Drop the rest. Clara shook her head. Full $250,000. Plus costs. Or court. They signed. Trembling. As we left, Harold muttered, "You'll regret this." But his eyes held defeat. The bully unmasked. Post-mediation. Peace was fragile. I walked the mansion's grounds, roses blooming defiantly in late fall. Nana's voice echoed, "Protect what's yours, but don't lose your soul." Had I? The victory felt hollow until Lena texted, "Can we talk?" Alone. We met at a neutral cafe. Her face drawn. "I didn't know the half," she admitted. Stirring latte foam. "They said you were jealous. That Nana favored you unfairly." I nodded. "They lied to us both." Tears welled. Dad's drinking more. Mom's selling jewelry. Pity stirred. But resolve held. They chose this. She left with a hug. Tentative. But real. Maybe bridges could mend.
But not yet.
The real bum no loomed. Criminal filings. Clara pushed for elder abuse charges. Evidence ironclad. Pennsylvania's tough on this. Up to 5 years. I agreed. Filing quietly. The DA jumped on it. Headlines whispering, "Prominent couple accused of exploiting elderly mother." Their world cracked. Harold's law partners distanced. Vivian's clients fled. But they fought dirty. Leaking stories to tabloids. Deranged daughter fabricates claims. I stayed silent, letting facts speak. The arrest came on a crisp morning. Sirens piercing the quiet suburb. I watched from my window as police cuffed Harold and Vivian at their McMansion, reporters swarming like flies. Lena called. Hysterical. What have you done?" "What they forced," I replied softly. "The charges: financial exploitation, fraud, trespass." Bail was set high, they posted, but the stain lingered. Court dates piled, each a nail in their coffin. Clara prepped me relentlessly. Stay composed. Emotion wins sympathy. But facts win cases. Testimony day arrived. Courthouse air thick with tension. I took the stand, voice steady. "My father terminated rights when I was 8. They reappeared only when inheritance beckoned." Cross-exam grilled. "Isn't this revenge?" "No," I countered. "Justice." Lena testified next, surprising all. "I saw Mom sign Nana's checks. Dad said it was family help." Gasps rippled. Harold glared. Vivian wept. Their defense crumbled. Misunderstandings. But evidence mounted: videos, records. Mr. Ellis's footage. Sentencing was poetic. Judge Ramirez, an old colleague of Pop's, peered over bifocals. "Mr. Grant, you abused trust, familial and legal. 12 months for you. 8 for Mrs.
Grant.
Full restitution." They were led away. Harold's shoulders slumped. Vivian's makeup streaked. Outside. Lena waited. "I'm moving to Boston. Starting therapy." I hugged her.
Good.
"Break the cycle." She paused. "You're stronger than them." "Than us," I corrected. Healing flickered. But they couldn't quit. Post-release on probation. They tried one last gasp, a civil suit claiming defamation. Clara laughed. "Frivolous. We'll countersue." Evidence buried it quick. Their own recordings, leaked by a disgruntled ex-employee. The judge dismissed, ordering them to pay my fees. Broke and broken. They sold their home, downsized to a condo. Harold took a desk job. Vivian waitressed. Poetic. Almost. I renovated the mansion subtly, fresh paint. Nana's roses thriving. Mr. Ellis became a fixture, sharing war stories over fence chats. Clara hosted barbecues. Lena visited occasionally. Bonds mending slowly. The house pulsed with new life. Echoes of old love. One evening, sorting attic boxes, I found Nana's journal, pages yellowed, words faded but fierce. Emily's my legacy. Harold lost his chance, she'll claim hers. Tears came, not bitter, but cleansing. I'd won not just the house, but freedom from their shadow. The $4 million wasn't wealth, it was security. Funding a foundation for abandoned kids, chess clubs, law workshops, echoing Pop-Pop's lessons. Lena's wedding came years later, small, sincere. She invited me. I attended, watching Harold and Vivian from afar, subdued in cheap seats. No speeches. But Harold nodded once, acknowledgement, perhaps regret. I didn't need apologies, closure was mine. As sunset gilded the mansion, I swung on the porch, tea steaming. Was revenge sweet, or just necessary? The wind whispered through roses, carrying Nana's laugh. In protecting my home, I'd found my heart. But the question lingered, when blood betrays, what price forgiveness? The answer, like the house, stood solid, mine to define.